I'm going to let them introduce themselves in a second. But basically, we're going to talk to you a little bit about this innovation at scale. So let's start with a little bit of an easy question. Maybe we can start firstly, you can introduce yourselves and then share one of the biggest problems that you help your customers to overcome while delivering true innovation. So, Carl, let's start with you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carl Vassallo. I'm the Digital Strategy Manager for Bynder. Bynder is a digital asset management solution where we help our organizations kind of conquer the chaos of content, and we strive in solving the problems of basically removing the silos in organization with assets in this case, and the content that makes those assets. So one of the customers we share with Contentstack is actually Air France KLM, which wanted to contextualize their business meals with visual content in this case, and they married that with the text content and basically managed to even look at strategies that they had to reduce wastage in this case. So they gave the personal experience of the business class meals what kind of they're going to have and choose when they actually arrive in the flight. We found that quite innovative and truly inspirational in terms of simple use case, solving a problem and actually achieving kind of savings in this case.
Perfect. Thank you. Kelly, let's hand over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Kelly Brennan. I'm a solution architect over at EPAM, and I think one of the things I found out EPAM when I first joined was they're one of the biggest tech companies you haven't heard of. We're kind of with a lot of products and services that you use every day, and ultimately I think we're there to really help our customers kind of enhance their digital footprint and their digital presence and really create new and innovative things. We're known as delivering, really hardcore engineering services, but we also do everything end to end. So we do design, UX, and some of the cool things we do are also like physical product development. So I really think we're great at kind of bringing the holistic thing together and the picture from like end to end. And we've done that with a lot of our long-term customers, including Burberry, who we worked with on the e-commerce side for a really long time. And they were really having a lot of problem delivering like relevant brand content out fast and efficiently. So with the switch over to Contentstack, they were seeing an 80% increase in their publishing times, and they were also able to deliver that content for like a luxury brand where that content is really important to them across multiple countries and multiple languages. And that led to some really cool things that we did in 2023, where we held an innovation day where we worked with them and internally to deliver some really cool concepts around an immersive digital catwalk experience or an online kind of tailoring flow as well. So I think really kind of helping people kind of, as you mentioned, like have the day-to-day sort of handled in a way that lets them focus on innovation.
Nice. I love that. Kia.
I saw that Innovation Day video. It was great. A lot of cool stuff there. I'm Kia. I lead sales at CommerceLayer. Really great to be here. Great to meet you guys the last couple of days, too. Speaking of shoes that match clothes, Carl, we got work to do. I don't know if you guys can see.
Those are some really great
Kelly
shoes.
Kelly up here, too.
That's kind of catwalk.
I'm hard to miss.
Yes.
She's been crushing it all week, actually. Yeah. But a little bit more about how we support global brands at CommerceLayer. So we power commerce across all markets, business models, and channels, from online to the in-store. And so, we have a pretty specific point of view, I would say, and it's that commerce engines tend to do more than they should, right? So our product itself is very focused on the core elements of commerce. So we power the building of the order or the cart, the placement of the order or checkout, as well as order management. We think that leads to maximum flexibility for brands that are looking to go the composable route, yeah? And it helps us complement partners like Contentstack very well that focus on those core content elements. In terms of the biggest problem that we solve for, I'd say probably the multi-problem is a theme that's come up a lot. So as a large brand, right, you maybe have, if it's a large company, you maybe have multiple brands, multiple geos, and business models. That leads to a lot of challenges around content and commerce strategy. And we'll get into some examples later of joint customers we have where we've solved for that.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right, let's move on to, I guess, how can I have a panel about innovation and not bring up the buzzword of AI? It's obviously a hot topic when it comes to innovation, but if everyone's just doing AI, are we all just kind of just doing the same thing? What is the opportunity to really differentiate with AI? Kelly, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I think, it's been the buzzword in our life for a while now. Like, what can we do to AI? How can we leverage AI? And I think within this content space, we see a lot of focus on the generation of content. If that's personalized content, or really just maybe helping with idea generation or writing. But one of the things that I kind of see is like, how can we use it to enhance the entire flow? So not just, the content we're delivering to users, but being able to make us more efficient throughout our entire project. So from, as I mentioned, the idea creation, scaffolding of code, whether it's, helping to write user stories, test cases, and things like that. So how can we integrate that to create a more efficient kind of workplace for us all that can help us do the innovative stuff, do the thinking, do the creative parts that we want to do and that we hopefully love about our jobs, while having those mundane day-to-day tasks being taken care of. But I think whenever we do something like this and we kind of start on that journey, that it's also really important that we think about how we're going to measure and then find our issues as well. So, we've done a lot of use cases in measuring, not just development time, but like our backlog health and like the lead time to get something from start to finish, and what parts of that flow were enhanced by AI. So I think whilst, the delivery of content through, personalized content, especially through the use of AI, is something that's really fun for us to think about. I like to also think about the application of it throughout the entire process and how we can become better at delivering these personalized experiences out faster as well.
Nice, great. Carl, do you want to step in here as well?
Sure. So for us, what was very important that we don't end up doing the same as everything, right? Because it's AI is a word that is being used, but then how do you apply it to the customer's problem? So we have the opportunity to work with a lot of customers that either are experimenting in AI or actually using it within our platform quite well. And the efficiencies that they're achieving in this case was they have a lot of assets, they didn't tag them well. We managed to kind of solve the problem of enriching the assets from the assets themselves through identifying text within images or translating videos from voice to text, and that actually helped quite a lot of customers achieve kind of quick enrichment of data.
And efficiency, right?
And efficiency of then finding assets, so helping basically people use the platform and be happier even more using it.
Fantastic.
So we'll look at quality, we'll look at trust, and also security, where generative AI for images can sometimes become very tricky when you want to protect the brand and make it unique.
Great, thank you. From a technology perspective, so I'll point this to you, Keir, and to you, Carl, as well. How do you challenge your customers to keep innovating? Keir, let's start with you.
Yeah, I would say, I think the one thing that comes to mind is really thinking beyond the .com or the standard digital experience, right? So going back to joint customers that we have together, we work with a leading fitness equipment manufacturer that is a competitor to Peloton in North America. And when we were discussing with them earlier on about partnering and kind of moving beyond the .com experience, I am a customer of theirs, and I'm sure maybe a lot of you have stationary bikes at home, right? And you're ready to work out, you get on the bike, and first few minutes, it's kind of tough. You're like, I don't know if I really want to be here. And then a couple of good songs come on maybe, and you start feeling the vibe, and you get the sweat going, and by minute 20, 30, like you're really motivated and you're happy that you hopped on. What if the instructor or the coach that was pumping you up along the way at that point said, hey, you did a great job, and thanks for your hard work. I'm actually wearing my heart rate monitor right now that's offered by XYZ, and because of all your efforts today, I'd like to make this available to you as a special offer and create that shoppable moment, meet the customer where they are.
Especially when they've got that adrenaline rush going on.
Yeah, totally. It's like you deserve this prize after what you did, right? I mean, there's already a little bit of gamification in these platforms too, but you don't see as much commerce carryover. So, we went in and discussed how a composable platform or approach could support innovation in this area. And what does innovation look like 2-3 years from now? Unclear, but you want to have a platform that can adapt, that can evolve for those moments, and again, meet customers where they are. I would say the other piece, just to throw in, is the unification of commerce, right? Traditionally, there's probably maybe some retailers in the room here too, where the in-store experience is different than the online, two separate platforms. And if you're trying to build a really omni-channel experience and create a single view of the customer, having siloed systems is tough. It is a difficult means to that end. And if you have an external order management system, that creates challenges too. So we've seen some examples of customers integrating our software in-store to begin, because you can point that composable stack at any digital experience, build a front end for the in-store employee and whatnot. And it's just a different phased approach, but working towards that unification. So yeah, I would say those are two areas that stand out.
I love that.
Yeah.
Carl?
So we make sure that we start looking kind of the use cases beyond just the normal marketing use case. And that's where the silos we see starts getting created in organizations where you have assets for marketing, assets for commerce, assets for your partners. And we usually do that by making sure that we understand that we can empower the whole organization to just create a system of record for assets, but also then start delivering those assets to adjacent platforms, such as Contentstack, commerce tools, commerce layers, and the like in this case. So that's where the life of an asset also starts extending in this case, and they start seeing that once it arrives on a website, it can also arrive on a digital display, it can also arrive in a printed format, and making sure kind of we extend the life, and therefore there's also speed to market through the integrations that is achieved.
Love that. Fantastic. Thank you. So, sorry. Kelly, when it comes to thinking about how customers can weave innovation into workflows, but still keep the lights on and manage all those day-to-day operations, what are your thoughts and a guidance piece there?
Yeah, I think for one, we're going to see like our day-to-day is, I feel like, still innovative. And we still need to deliver these things to our customers. And as we kind of continue, we're seeing like we're having to deliver across more and more channels. So we're having to kind of create that consolidated experience when somebody's working out. We're having to create an experience where we've got maybe like a single system or a set of connected systems that help us deliver experiences to customers as they're walking through and engaging with their everyday life.
Yeah.
And I think what's core to that is making sure that we have the right platforms in place as well, so that we're not being like, okay, we need to like deliver, some digital signage. So we have our digital signage platform, and the content for managing that digital signage platform is in a digital signage platform. And then we're managing our e-commerce, and all of our e-commerce content is in the e-commerce platform.
So that reuse that Carl's just talking about as well. Yeah.
Absolutely vital, because if our day-to-day tasks can be in a single place, and it's not to say that we can't use, the right tools for the right job, but more about thinking, what are we trying to deliver to our customers? If we're trying to deliver content, we want to have a central repository for our content that can be used to deliver that content to multiple places.
And be consistent so that the experience always stays kind of unified.
And that the brand experience is unified as well. And so you're kind of always creating those relevant brand experiences for your users. And so we've worked with some of our clients to kind of transition into that single source of truth for content. And we've we worked with one of the keynote speakers last year at Metrolinx to kind of help them migrate across to Contentstack and a Mac and composable architecture, which they've been real advocates of. And when they came with a problem of like, okay, we need to really modernize our digital signage experience across our multiple train stations. And it was like, okay, how can we do that? And when you think about those sorts of digital signage systems, their version of a CMS is very different to what we think of as CMS. It is, it's very static. You're stuck in a layout. Your content, it's not shared. It lives in this system. You cannot get it out, and you can't get it in another way. And, we had to think about how we could leverage the tools that were in place to deliver headless content to these and like merge it in with a bunch of other sources. So like, how do you know what like what location a sign is within a train station, a bus station, or even somewhere within your store as we make this move towards like dynamic pricing in store as well. Like how do you match locations and content and deliver that in like an efficient way that's performative and is delivering, kind of to the second information to your customers. So making sure that the tools are in place to kind of deliver that makes things a lot easier so that you've got that single place, you're onboarding users into this one system and you're creating an ecosystem that people perhaps enjoy using rather than like struggle and being like, I've got to update this, but to update this like one alert, I've got to do it in this system, and this system, and this system, and this system. And I think so making life easier for people to do their job, completely vital. Thinking about the humans that interact with our systems shouldn't feel groundbreaking, but it kind of is. And I think, just as we kind of come into that AI thing, sort of mention it, but handing off tasks that we can to automation so that we can, again, focus on the things that we enjoy doing and delivering unique experiences to our customers is also important.
That balance is so important, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. All right. What one piece of advice would you give the brands here in our audience if they're looking to really exponentially enhance their team's efficiency and also their time to market? So, Kia, let's start with you.
Yeah, I would say one thing, it's difficult, right? First off, you need to determine if going the composable route versus a monolithic route is the right decision for your business, right? And if you don't have that complexity, it probably isn't. And if you do, I would say it probably is. And how do you make that case? And once you make the case, how do you actually test it, right? And I think making the case, obviously we've seen all the amazing performance improvements that brands have talked about here over the last couple of days around time to market, speed, reduction of cost. I think that's table stakes when it comes to innovation. I haven't really come across an innovative digital experience that's slow. It's not really a thing, right? So I think as much as you can quantify that is great, but then I think the more compelling piece is actually how going that route prepares you for the unknown. I don't know what innovation is going to look like in a few years. I have some thoughts about what it's going to look like in commerce, but you're never really sure, and you need to pick a technology stack that evolves with the times, that can be agile.
Yep.
So if there is a completely new digital medium that people want to shop on in 5 years' time, you can adapt and be prepared for that, and you can adapt faster than the competition can. Or even like on a smaller scale, if there's a up-and-coming payment gateway in your Italian market, you want to be able to integrate with that, and traditionally legacy platforms, that's tough to do. So I would say, that's some thoughts about how to make the case, and then from there, in terms of how to test, I would start small. I would focus on one specific problem in one specific market. I would roll out, point the stack to that, collect some results, and then assuming things look okay from an ROI perspective, branch it out to the rest of the markets. We see that with the customer I mentioned. That's the approach they're taking as well.
Nice.
And
Love
I think
that.
measurement is so important and something that we forget. It's really difficult to show value if we're not measuring what that value is, because we're all kind of running with limited budgets at the moment. So if we can prove the value that we're giving, then
hopefully that's going to
it helps us keep moving.
Yeah. So what other ideas would you have, Kelly?
I think the biggest one that I see, and I've heard people talk about it here over the past 2 days as well, is really that enablement part of it, making sure that our teams are prepared and ready to go with this new way of thinking.
Yep.
And whilst we often think of headless as being this technology piece, we get APIs, we get webhooks, it's fantastic from a developer onboarding perspective. This shift to this mindset of content is king that we heard about as well is it's not this easy one, because we go from thinking about I want to deliver a web page, and we're not just delivering web pages anymore. We're delivering content, we're delivering experiences, which is that merge of content and maybe visualization, maybe not. And so making sure that our teams are ready to create that content in that way, that they're ready to use these tools, but also that they're ready to move fast as well. So coming back to the example we heard yesterday about Oreo putting out their ad in 4 minutes.
I know.
The preparation it takes to be responsive is actually a lot as well. So making sure that, it comes
You can
to
be
working.
responsive, but still do it safely and do it consistently.
And also working in a multi-vendor environment. When we're talking composable, you now have you have maybe your CMS vendor, your DAM vendor, your e-commerce vendor, your search vendor. And if you've got procurement processes and legal processes that take you a year to onboard a vendor, it's not going to work as efficiently, and you're going to start to be limited by some of those changes as well. So making sure organizationally that you're ready for the shift to headless, to composable, that your dev teams are on board, that your learning and development teams are on board, your legal, your procurement, everybody is like kind of ready and willing to take that journey, and they're being supported as well. And so whether that's through, bringing in a partner to help with that change and to help with that change management, or in, setting up internal kind of communities, but I think it's also important to have, that set of advocates within your organization who are like, we are doing this, we are ready for this, and we're going to go on this journey together.
And the benefit of doing this journey as well. Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
I think also just working with a partner like EPAM, you guys know what good looks like. You've done so many projects where getting in some of that outside expertise to kind of show the path is super useful. We can provide that on the ISV side too, but
well, I think that's so true that I think having a partner who's really used to working with all the technology is really important. But our technology partners are also very, very used to working with each other, and so understand how to manage those relationships and make sure that we're taking our customer on a consistent journey.
And I think the Care Without Compromise program is a really good example of that, and also it's a huge value add for customers to know that there is that point that they can go to that can kind of help manage that. And then in conjunction with your solution implementer as well, just kind of creates this cohesive environment that I feel like it's kind of those one thing that people sort of miss. They're like, who do I call when something goes wrong?
Well, exactly, and that is what Care Without Compromise is for.
I'm like, who do you call right now? And they're like, the person that's implementing it. I'm like, so you don't call, Adobe or Oracle or somebody big. You're calling the people you know and the people you enjoy working with.
Exactly.
So I think having that support being consistent and helpful is also a huge move when it comes to composable.
So true.
No, I think to add to that, because they're very important points, and then what I see sometimes missing when someone wants to be more efficient and wants to go fast to use a platform or deploy something, it's process design. So coming back from before I started at Bynder, I used to kind of design solutions on process, on paper. And usually people start designing the process on paper, then they have to stress test it with the organization, with their expert, and then start deploying it. And that's where solution partners can come very handy. Technology partners have to work together, because that's where also integration points starts being identified.
Yes, of course.
And as you stress test that, there's improvements that you can make to that process itself as you launched it, and that's even gaining more efficiency and more quickness in your steps, I would say.
Yeah. And just because a process worked for you previously doesn't mean it's going to work for you now.
That is so true.
I love the idea of stress testing it as well.
I see a lot of RFPs, and I've seen a lot of RFPs in my life, and sometimes there are all these lists of just requirements, but then you ask the person, so what is your process to create an asset, to publish a blog post, to publish a content model? And they wouldn't know, and that's actually what technology vendors, what solution partners need in order to actually make it work.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very, very much, panel. Really appreciate this. I hope you've all found that there's at least a few ideas here that you can take on board and start thinking about how they can help you on your journey. The panelists are all here for the rest of the day, so if you want to dig in a little bit more and find out some more, please do check in with one.
I believe we're all next to each other outside as well, so during coffee break,
it's like it's
come on down.
coordinated.
Come and have a chat.
Perfect. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.